Hey guys, time to get in on the action for the biggest moments in basketball with Prize Picks, America's #1 fantasy sports app. Just select 2 or more players, pick more or less on their projections, place your entry, and win up to 100 times your money. Right now, Prize Picks will match your first deposit of up to $100. Just download the Prize Picks app and use the code GET100. That's code GET100 on Prize Picks for a first deposit match of up to $100. Prize Picks. Pick more. Pick less. It's that easy.
Are you ready, kids? Get your parents' permission, check your mailbox, and grab your shopping cart. It's time for the Adventures in Collecting podcast.
I'm Eric.
And I'm Dave. Welcome to Adventures in Collecting, where we talk toy news, culture, and hauls,
along with our journeys as collectors.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Adventures in Collecting.
Hi.
Dave, we're back. We're here.
We are. Hope everyone enjoyed the Premium Toyetic event last week.
Yeah, that's been a lot of fun. I hope everyone's enjoying our new little kind of like sub episode. This exploration of the toyetic nature of professional wrestling events.
Professional wrestling attire.
Yeah. Who is the most toyetic? Well, speaking of things that are toyetic, Dave, I should not bury the lead today, right? Like it's like not a thing.
No, I don't think you ever should.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna do my best here with this impersonation with my little bit of a cold that I'm fighting. But fall in, maggots! Returning to the pod this week on the heels of an action-packed live stream a couple weeks ago are our friends from Hasbro's G.I. Joe team. Folks, welcome back to the show, Emily, Lenny, and Tony. Welcome back, guys.
Howdy.
Hi.
Hello.
Now,
nice to see you guys again.
It's always a pleasure to have you guys here, and as people who have actually met and or possibly have been put in the Cobra Clutch by Sarge. How did I do with my maggots? Was it good?
I thought he was here with us.
Yeah. I looked away for a second. I was like, Sarge?
They got Sarge to do the open?
Yeah.
You know, the budget's always increasing here. We're always
It's gone up over the years.
So before we jump into everything, you know, we always like to get a quick update on the collections. So Emily, Lenny, Tony, what is the thing you picked up most recently that's resonating with you for your collections?
I can start. I mentioned while we were talking before the episode that I recently went to the Dartmouth Mall for the first time, which, if you aren't familiar with the area, is a fascinating mall. It's basically a hallway with stores on either side of it. Absolutely fascinating to me. But more importantly, there was a hot topic which allowed me to get the new plush Stay Puffed Marshmallow Man backpack for me to wear on some Ghostbusters related shenanigans later this month, which I am quite excited for. I think I might be able to get my phone in it. It's enormous, but the pocket to actually put stuff in it is tiny.
Perfectly impractical. Well, just like Stay Puft Marshmallow Man himself. It's perfect.
Flawless. Nicely done.
I can go next.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I buy everything, as you guys probably can see. Everyone at home obviously can't, because this is all audio. But so I buy everything. But I'm going to give a shout out to the little guys here. I just got this Musco.
Whoa!
Which, if you haven't heard of them, they're incredible. They're kind of like a nod to He-Man, I would say. But super cool. They're on Big Bad Toy Store from MF Gallery, but they're just these jacked up, super weird. Oh, Lenny's got one too.
Tony bought this for me.
Their muscles have muscles.
Their muscles have muscles, and those have muscles too.
That's incredible.
They're super fun and ridiculous.
I love how gross they are. They're sick.
That's awesome.
So actually, Lenny, question. So I know that you describe details as like the greeble on things. Is it still greeble if it's on something that is like alive, like the
organic
detail on like that figure? Or is
I don't think so. I think
that's inanimate detail.
Star Wars term. Yeah, it's a Star Wars term, and I think they use it for like vehicles. I think that's just like gross. I don't know. I don't have a good word for it, but I think it's just gross veins and sinew.
Viscera and sinew. Yeah.
Yeah, viscera and sinew.
Love it. We're off to a real strong start.
The figure I'm going to pull out is a complete opposite of a muscleloid, but she's awesome. I always loved Metal Slug as a kid. It's one of my favorite video games.
Awesome.
All right.
And I got the Fio figure. I think that's how you say her name.
Oh.
But she's awesome. This is the box. Cool. It's up on my shelves right now. But I just loved the loadout. It was crazy. She came with all sorts of accessories, all sorts of updates for her accessories. She also had there's a crate, and inside the crate was other accessories, and there was foam in the crate. And the one thing about her that was so crazy to me was her glasses are pressed metal. Whoa. So cool. Let me see if I can I'll show you guys.
With like that thin wall thickness and stuff?
Yeah, check this out. It's crazy. It's crazy. So I'm like, can we do pressed metal? I don't know if it'll come up on the camera for you guys.
Yeah, no.
This is the weird head. I'm not really.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, both of the heads are really cool, but the expression on the head's a little strange.
That head is wildly questionable.
Yeah, I don't know. I think she's yawning. I think she's like sleepy in the game, if I remember correctly, or something like that.
Is that what that face is?
We'll go with that. We'll go with sleepy. We're gonna go with.
But anyways, but look at the metal. It's crazy.
That is wild.
Pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's amazing. Awesome.
So I'm like, how do they get away with that?
If you put your nail on it, does it warp at all, or does it
would.
hold its shape?
It would, yeah, it would, definitely would. But you could probably warp it back into shape. But I just thought an engineering.
It looks great though.
Yeah, I was just like, that's crazy looking. I mean, there's no lens, but I mean,
still,
she has metal glasses on.
Yeah,
awesome. It's crazy. Well, three very, very fun and very on brand picks for you guys. Like very in your respective wheelhouses. I dig it. No surprises. No surprises.
Very cool. So there was a Pulse live stream recently, and I feel it's only fitting that we start off our G.I. Joe conversation properly the same way you all do. So let's kick things off, if it's okay, with a name only reveal. Is there a name that you would be willing to share with our listeners?
Boys?
Yes.
I think we said it. The one that I think the one we settled on, we said it already.
Did we? Well, try it, and then if Dave and
they'll
Eric
remember better than we will.
Then it's, they'll know. Then we can do a different one.
Lenny, you say it.
Blowtorch.
No, you guys have not said that. Awesome.
What a reveal.
It's super cool that Blowtorch is coming. I mean, we can without revealing too much later in the Q&A section, but we don't.
A favorite of mine from my childhood.
Awesome.
I love the attachable flamethrower.
Oh yeah. Yep. And he's got all of his bells and whistles. We updated him a little bit, nothing too crazy, but just kind of realizing some of his armor. If you guys recall, it had those kind of circular medallions all over it. So kind of leaning into it a little bit.
Yeah, it felt very gagey, lots of gauges.
Yes. So excited to bring him to the line.
Very cool. Yeah, that's one that too, again, we don't get into for the Q&A stuff. We avoid the questions that you guys are not going to be able to answer, such as when are you making Blowtorch? But that was a very popular question submitted for the Q&A by lots of people. So
soon.
Congratulations. the one time we don't ask the question, that's the answer for it.
Your question has been answered.
Dreams.
Wait, do people actually ask specifically for Blowtorch?
Yes, we had a lot of requests.
Blowtorch is a staple.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He's a staple.
All right, good for us.
It wasn't just Dave writing in over and over again?
Yeah.
No. It was not. It was not. It wasn't like when I was. It wasn't like when I was.
Although he would be a funny character to have burner accounts for.
I was just gonna say it wasn't like that time I was creating burner accounts to keep requesting shipwreck. That was
definitely not.
That worked out pretty well for you, though.
It did. It worked out great. I'm looking at him right now. He's great. Speaking of the recent live stream, you guys had quite a bit to show off and put up for pre-order. Seven new items to be exact. This question goes out to each of you. Which was your favorite reveal from the stream?
Oh, mine was definitely the SMS/HMS. Pre-orders or reveals? The old reveals or the ones
No,
we put
that
as
works.
pre-order?
No, that works too. Yeah, you could totally take that.
So we started the development on that item when we were developing the Hiss tank. So for a brief, beautiful moment in time, the original Hiss tank offering actually included the HMS. But the price point on it was much higher to kind of accommodate for the extra plastic and all of the extra pieces. And so ultimately we made the decision to say, we'd rather be able to have people get the HasLab for a lower price point so that they can troop build with it. 'Cause, it was our first classified HasLab offering, and then do the HMS later as an add-on so that if you want it, you can buy it. But if you buy 5 Hiss tanks and you don't necessarily want 5 HMSs, you can buy however many you want. So keeping that a secret for as long as we did, I think was absolutely incredible on the work of the team. I think in the fan stream, Lenny mentioned this, but the original design of this was even bigger than this was. Like the first time we saw it, I think we all kind of went, "Oh my God, that's so big."
Weren't you saying
enormous.
12-inch rockets originally?
What's that?
Weren't you saying that the rockets were originally designed to be like a foot long each?
They were. And man, it was so big.
No joke. It was so the original model used to sit in our old HasLab lab office, and we would look at it and we'd just be like, there was a figure that was sitting next to it. I think it was Profit Director Destro, because we needed somebody who had a bigger torso. We just happened to have one sitting around. And so I always smiled whenever I looked at it, because I was like, oh my God, that thing is so huge. So I'm glad that we brought the size down a little bit to make it, it's not that it's reasonably sized. It's still very large, but it's, a little more reasonably sized.
I would say it's like if you were to take the rockets and put in front of it, it's a full hoagie. If you
not lasagna?
Always
We're back.
food.
No,
Always food.
Not the lasagna.
It's like a hoagie, man. Look at this thing. Yeah, it's big. So I'm excited about it. And
Italian grinda.
Grind hoagie.
Did you just say a grind? A hoagie. Lenny speaking our language. It's a hoagie.
You mean a submarine sandwich? Is that what we're saying?
You can call it a sub. You can call it a sub. I'll accept it.
Can you call it a sub? But can you call it a submarine sandwich? A sub.
Oh, my mom would call it a submarine sandwich.
A submarine sandwich. I packed you a submarine sandwich for lunch, Lenny.
It's fabulous. My mom would say everything's fabulous. A fabulous submarine sandwich. But you got to pull out the middle. Everybody needs to know this. When you make a good
you got to
hoagie,
carve out.
Carve out the middle of the bread so you can get more meat in there.
Got to scoop
this is like a public service mess. Yeah. So carve out the middle.
And on this edition of Adventures in Eating, we're going to talk about bread scooping.
That's also on brand for us, I feel.
Yes.
So Lenny, Tony, what about you guys? Which was your favorite?
Tony, you go first.
All right, but I'm going to say Naugahyde. So you better get ready.
Say it.
You said it. You already said it.
Yeah, there it is.
All right, Naugahyde. Yeah, that figure is deluxe to the max. It's got the hog has so much deco on it, and Lenny just let me keep putting more and more on it, which is amazing. I was like, "Are we sure we can put this much on there?" Yeah, it's beautiful. And he was also one of my, I probably say this every time I talk about a G.I. Joe, but they are literally all my favorites. But I always like this guy. Obviously, being a wrestling fan, I like the super jacked up dudes, hence the musculoid I just showed you earlier. But he was part of like the strong team. Shout out to our friend Chris that also had the strong team. But it was like Salvo, Naugahyde, all like these like crazy looking dudes. But yeah, he's my favorite amongst all the others that we revealed. But I gotta give Lenny a choice.
I mean, on Pork Belly, we even got we got like, if you ever looked at like wild animals and they have like the tear duct and there's like the tear coming out of the right, we even got that deco on there.
I saw that.
There's like light. Yeah, there's light oversprays on the nose and like over the eyes. There's dark oversprays on the eyes. Then there's that tear duct thing that Lenny told me to throw in there. It's insane how.
I just started doing
the sideburns.
When I was doing the spec sheet, I just started going. I was like, I want to make it look real. And then my engineer was like, yeah, you're fine. I was like, where am I right now?
And it's not like we took any off of Nagahide, the figure itself either, or the monkey. Like they all just got ridiculous amount of deco, which was awesome.
Yeah, it was super fun. I love when it works out like that because they look more real that way.
And you were pointing out too the fur on Nagahide's back, like when you were talking about like the ombre of like the leopard skin and everything. Like it really does. Yeah. And the pictures, was that Matt or Corey that took those pictures?
That was Corey.
Corey took those, yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful photos. I mean, he brought out all of those details, and yeah, fantastic.
Yeah, it was awesome. That was a good shoot. So it's a hard one to pick, but I think Doc, just because he's a staple.
Yeah.
His stretcher came out awesome. He's got a lot of cool gear. It was really fun to kind of get into the stuff he would have on him. I loved keeping the pill jars on his helmet, which I thought was it was so crazy that he had those back in the day.
Yeah.
Jinx is a very close second. Torch is a very close second. I love the whole wave. Torch's accessories are very important for us too, from an engineering standpoint, because we got them to a good place.
Those translucent flame effects can be challenging. So there are some out there that are a little droopy.
Yeah, we went through a lot of what I'm showing you right here is like the first round. We went through a lot of stages of color and durometer and all that sort of stuff. So the wave is an important wave. But I think Doc, just because Doc came out awesome. Got a lot of stuff with him. It's cool.
Plus the collapsible gurney
the stretchers. The stretchers awesome.
Yeah, excuse me. Yeah, amazing.
Yeah, and the fact that he can hold all of it too. I mean, that's been one of the hallmarks of the line is like, can everybody carry their stuff, like their loadout?
Yeah.
And, he can do it all.
It's the goal. Not going to happen all the time because sometimes it's a little engineering. Sometimes some of those things are a little hard to do, but that's the goal. We're trying to get every figure to hold what they can. You know what I mean? So, but sometimes it's like, you gotta push and pull.
Yeah. Well, Emily brought it up as part of her answer to this question, but we got our chance to see the HMS in hand and how it plays with the HISS tank, and it's incredible. I can't wait to attach one to mine. You guys
I didn't answer part of this. I'm so sorry. I should have been.
It's okay. You guys have been storytelling with this line, and this is a great example of like paying that off. Seeing that image of like the fire team and the HMS and like that whole thing in front of you guys like build out was it was fantastic. And you talked a little bit about the development, but like tell us a little bit more about the actual story elements of this. What's going on in your minds to kind of bring these pieces together and tell a cohesive story with the HISS tank?
The HISS tank was so special to us and so exciting. We did the Sky Striker. It was a lovely first HasLab in a product that in retrospect had absolutely no business being a HasLab. We have learned so much from kind of the HasLab process from when we did that project to now, that I believe that if it is a product that you can buy on eBay in roughly the same kind of condition or, roughly the same size, roughly the same product, that it is not a HasLab. And that is kind of a learning that I have gotten to over the course of the last couple of years. But for all intents and purposes, it was a delightful first HasLab campaign for us, and we are incredibly proud of it. But we knew that we wanted to follow that up with something that was magical. And so it was, from the get-go, it was the HISS tank. And it was, we are going to knock this thing out of the park. It is going to be absolutely incredible. The development timeline on it was ludicrous in terms of toy development, because you saw how close those campaigns were together. We're never doing that again. But there's always, HasLabs are really, really scary, because when you do a pre-order product, like just a regular product in a line, it's going to come out and people may like it, they may not like it, but ultimately it's still going to come out, right? HasLabs are make or break. Like it can fail from the get-go. It is a very anxiety inducing thing. And we didn't really know how the HISS tank was going to hit. And it hit like, whoo! nobody could have predicted how well that project was going to go. And so I think that there was part of what we wanted to do was celebrate that success and celebrate the excitement around the Hiss Tank by really kind of building an ecosystem out around it to help you to tell more of that story, which is, there's so many different characters and variants of characters in G.I. Joe that can work with different terrains and different themes, that this was kind of a unique opportunity for us to say, like, okay, we have a flagship item in this line, right? Like, this is up and to date. Like, this is our flagship item for G.I. Joe Classified. How can we blow that out, but also kind of parse the story beats out around it so that people get to enjoy this and kind of keep adding to that story? Does that seem okay? Did I do that okay? Also, I don't want to disparage the Sky Striker campaign. It was a beautiful campaign. It was great, but we have learned a lot about the world of HasLabs in the last 4 years. Oh my God, was that 3 years ago? 2.5 years ago?
3 years ago, yeah.
Somehow.
Yeah, that's why it's thinking back to the story. I'm like, I needed you to say the marketing stuff to remind me.
Yeah, did I do a good job though? Did that spark something?
You did an amazing job. I think it really kind of sums up, we're always learning from our past products. And I think which that leads into the storytelling as where we wanted to come up with we wanted to do a quintessential vehicle for G.I. Joe. A lot of the other vehicles in G.I. Joe, although very quintessential, like the Vamp, the Dragonfly, the Mobat, a lot of those vehicles, they are very G.I. Joe. However, they are based very real world. So for the first HasLab, we wanted to do something that was very ownable, iconic to G.I. Joe, and particularly Real American Hero, which Classified draws its roots from. So we went with the Hiss Tank. Also, it's funny that the Hiss Tank is one of the most iconic G.I. Joe vehicles, and it's a Cobra vehicle, right? So it's kind of like our TIE Fighter in a weird way.
Exactly.
Right? So it's we want to do something when a fan would see it and immediately know, oh, that's a Hiss Tank, and there is nothing else in the market like it, right? So it's you are getting a quintessential Hiss Tank from us, and it kind of helps tell the story on your Classified shelf. Also, it had to be big, right? It had to be something that had presence on the shelf. So we were going through a lot of stuff that we had that would fit within the price point too, because we do cost studies to see what we can afford to give the people and for a fair price. And I think the Hiss Tank really fits that bill. Again, who doesn't remember Cobra Commander yelling at Destro as they're all driving their Hiss Tanks going into battle in that desert scene, all the dust behind them. And it just kind of really resonates with what the G.I. Joe battle encompasses. But what's also cool about it is it had a lot of iterations of it, and it had a lot of the SMS or HMS, as we're calling it now, how that connected to the back. So then there's line extension opportunity there. Because for me, the G.I. Joe line is very archetypal and utility based. So if we're going to make characters and figures, they should kind of complement each other, right? So if you're going to make a tank, how can you complement the tank? Can you give the tank a group that protects the tank? That's why G.I. Joe for me is the coolest brand, because it's world building. You are making figures for a reason, and whether or not the aesthetic is the aesthetic, the form follows function essentially on G.I. Joe, right? And that's been since day one. So if you're Big Lob, you're going to look like, you know what I mean? So it all kind of forms follow function, and the story then enhances it even further. So I think that's why the Hiss Tank was such a good choice for the first one. And the Dragonfly, I can't wait to people with the Dragonfly. We learned so much from the Hiss Tank and put that into the Dragonfly. And the story we're able to tell there with all the unlocks with Wild Bill and everybody, it's the little details that kind of bring these HasLabs to life. So again, I think the short of it is, can we world build off of the thing that we're going to offer in a big, bombastic way, like in a HasLab?
Yeah, and then, I mean, before we kind of move away from the design aspect, one of the things that jumped out at me about the HMS was how you kind of have that ratcheting height differentiating tow from that. It's future proofing, right? If you wanted to tow it to something else, or if you're a customizer, or whatever it is, there's options, and it's so utilitarian and so perfectly Cobra, and it's just a great little touch. So shouts on that.
That thank you. And that joint's actually a Transformers joint. I forget what figure I think it was Blitzwing has those joints in his shoulders. And I remember working on that figure. And then we were working on the SMS. I was like, HMS, sorry. I was like, but what if we do a black Jeep-like vehicle that might want to tow this someday?
Well,
they're at different heights.
The Energon universe.
In the Energon universe, there are different heights. So I remember that joint from that Blitzwing figure, and it worked perfectly for this too. So I mean, you learn from things, and I think again, it's that back and forth, future-proofing, engineering world building as well as story and design world building that makes G.I. Joe so cool. Ain't nobody beat G.I. Joe.
Plus, like you guys were saying, when we put it all together on that turntable, and you have the fire team, you have the HMS, you've got the HISS tank, it just looked so incredible together. And I guess I'll ask you guys and your listeners, of course, would you want to see more of that world building for fire team? I've seen some incredible customs already.
Oh yeah,
matching some of those color schemes and building out that squad. But I know I would certainly love more world building on top of that.
Yeah, I mean, just think about the kind of the history of G.I. Joe, right? All those sub teams and the importance of like the different sub teams and everything. So absolutely, I think for going further with the fire team is definitely a good idea, especially for the people who backed the project.
Or even if you just have everything like out together, you always, back when it was the 3 3/4 inch figures, you had the ability to kind of have this like a massive display of like, oh look, here's everything together, and it looks like a world. So just to kind of see that continue here is awesome. Like, I think there's always that potential for it, or that need for it.
It is one of the things that's been important to us too, is without any kind of a caveat during the HasLab campaign, if we do add-ons that match themes, they will be available to everyone. It won't be limited to HasLab backers unless it is something that is denoted during a HasLab campaign. That's me future-proofing something. We don't have that capacity right now. But that's something that's important, because we don't want, so say the fire team came out, which nobody knew about during the actual HISS campaign, and we said, this is actually limited to only the people that shelled out for this very expensive item. And if you didn't buy that, not knowing that these figures were going to come out in the future, you can't have that. Because it's really important to us that our fans and the people that are buying the product are having a good experience. And that would have been a terrible experience. We try to the absolute best of our abilities to create products and kind of strategies for those products with fans in mind.
We heard about it. Lenny mentioned it a couple minutes ago. From one HasLab to another, when can fans expect the next update on the Dragonfly?
Soon. I'm behind. I apologize. It's on me. The Ghostbusters movie is coming out at the end of the month, and so that's kind of what is taking over my life right now. But we did get in prototypes. Are they EP2s or EP1s?
We are very far along. We're at EP2, and we're doing some on a HasLab on, especially, you guys wouldn't know this, but on a vehicle that looks like it can fly, goes through different testing.
Interesting.
So we got to drop it. We got to drop the shit out of it.
Oh my god!
You have to beat it up. So basically, we're going through some testing. We've had no problems really, but it goes through a little bit more rigor. And we're making sure. Like, actually, I just saw the chain gun. We just updated the attachment, and we got a video today. I haven't gotten the updated model yet. So basically, they sent me a video. We comment on what we can tentatively, and like, these comments don't really resonate until we get the model, because we want to see everything in hand. But the way that everything was snapping in, and the snap from the video, you guys know what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah,
put something together. It looked like it was magnetic the way it was going in. It's not.
Nice.
It's not.
Nice.
But like the tolerance levels are really nice on it. So I'm super excited about it. Even the EP1 that we have right now is really good. So that the EP2 is going to be good. And on a HasLab, we'll go deep into the EP. Like we might even get like an EP3. Sometimes you'll do an EP4 on some items, but that means you're getting late. You're getting really late.
And so we don't have footage of the video of the Dragonfly models being dropped, but I did take pictures of Lenny doing model review. I think it was with Matt. And so when I have a little bit more brain capacity, I will get those sent over to our Pulse marketing team, and we will get those out to fans so that everybody can see them.
We didn't even fake pose, too. I think you came over while we were actually reviewing the model.
Yes,
like,
no, you were actually reviewing the products. I showed up. I stuck my camera in front of them. I took 50 pictures from different angles, and then I said bye, and I left.
So unlike the paratroopers, you didn't have to drop the Dragonfly out the factory window outside.
That's one of my favorite memories. I still get people who bring up that video and are just like, I can't believe you did that. And I was like, yep, we sure did. We had a lot of fun on that campaign.
That was so funny. I remember when you went and did that. It was
things I'm probably not allowed to do again. But we had a good time. There were a lot of disclaimers on that video.
I was going to say, is the drop test more like fun or nerve-wracking or...
Oh, we don't do it here. It happens at a lab, actually, over in China. So there's like a particular amount of tests and rigor that products go through. The VAMP actually went through a lot of drop testing too, surprisingly. And then it's funny, you're at like an engineering pilot stage. I won't say which one. But then you learn that you have to make some adjustments to the thing that's already molded. You're like, oh no! So then you got to do all these changes. And it's amazing to me what our team over in China can do. Like, it's like, we can fix it. That's doable. And it's like, they're like, yeah, no problem. We got it. And it's like what that team can do. And I don't think they get enough credit of how much good work they do over there and how much they're able to kind of make our dreams come reality. Shout out to the PDE team.
Oh, for sure. We all have our counterparts. There's a PDE Lenny and a PDE Tony and probably a PDE Emily over there.
Probably.
I don't know if
we have marketing.
No,
I don't know. I'm sure that there's got to be somebody over there that I could be BFFs with, though.
Yeah, they're just as incredibly talented and focused on a lot of the detail work and function. Obviously, Lenny and our engineers here do a lot of that stuff in-house too, but it's always great to have a second, third, fourth set of eyes watching all that stuff for us.
Yeah, it's amazing the level of knowledge they have to take it through the production process. You know what I mean? So there's like things that you're thinking of in a toy, the features it should have, the details it should have, but then it's like, how does that get molded? What will that do to the mold itself? Will it come out of the mold? Will it cause issues for the factory workers? Like glue on action figures is a big deal for an assembly line, right? So it's like, imagine having 70 people have to glue a little piece of glue onto an action figure. That could make a mess, right? So it's like, there's a lot of stuff that gets taken in consideration that these guys do, that they do such a good job. And I think it kind of goes unsung. But man, thank God for them, So, it takes a village, or in the case of Hasbro, it takes almost a city-sized group of people.
And now, a word from our sponsors.
This segment is brought to you by our friends at Chubsy Wubsy Toys. A traditional mom-and-pop toy store in Little Falls, New Jersey, Chubsy Wubsy Toys brings you the best new toys from the brands you love without the hassle of pounding the pavement searching for them at larger retail stores. Visit them in person at their brand new home at 101 Newark Pompton Turnpike, Suite 1 in Little Falls, New Jersey, or online at chubsywubsy.com. That's CHUBZZYWUBZZY.com. And tell them Adventures in Collecting sent you. Are you thirsty? Well, guess what? That's your brain telling you you're getting dehydrated. Put down that action figure and up your hydration game with show sponsor, Liquid IV. Liquid IV hydrates 2 times faster than water alone with 3 times the electrolytes of traditional sports drinks, and it's easy to use. Rip open a pouch and pour one of their delicious flavors into a water bottle and shake it up. I'm a huge fan of the cucumber mojito and golden cherry flavors, but with more than a dozen to choose from, there's a flavor for everyone. So whether you're on a long toy hunt, spending 10 hours on your feet walking your favorite Comic-Con, trying to get to sleep, or recuperating after a gym session, stay hydrated and healthy with Liquid IV. Get 20% off when you go to liquidiv.com and use code AICPOD at checkout. That's 20% off anything you order when you shop Better Hydration today using promo code AICPOD at liquidiv.com.
And now back to the show.
You bring up an interesting point, and it's something that the Transformers team has gone into a couple times, and I think actually in the past, like when we first had you on, we were talking about molds and like kind of sneaking other heads and things onto like molds with other projects, but with something like a Dragonfly or a Hiss tank, like do you have to factor in the same kind of like size? Like, is there like a standard size mold, or is
Bigger.
it like that you just make bigger molds and fit more on, and like?
Yeah, it's crazy. So action figure molds are a particular size. We call them cavities, right? So it's like, and it's the mold cavity, but then like a vehicle cavity. Just imagine a fuselage of the Sky Striker, for instance. Like that's all one solid piece.
Yeah.
So now imagine the metal that goes around that. Say you're making like a Ford resin mold, like you see on Instagram sometimes, or like toy kit bashers do. Imagine the amount of that rubber that's around that form, made of steel and a square, not the shape of a cup. And it's like for the Sky Striker. So it would be like, probably like a foot by like a foot, or maybe 2 feet by 2 feet.
Oh my God.
So like it depends on what you're making, right? And it's like just the engineering. It always fascinates me, the engineering that goes into like mold. I guess they call it molding science, and plastic science, and what it takes and what kind of plastics to make. We're dorking out a little bit. I'm dorking out a little bit, but like just to like how to make the stuff. Do you use nylon for the elbows? Do you use the polypropylene? Like, what do you use so it doesn't break over time, so it doesn't snap? And a lot of with the weapon stuff, when it was softer, a lot of that was because if it snaps, it makes a sharp edge, and our toy is 4+. So if it snaps, it makes a sharp edge because the durometer is too hard. You have a problem. So you have to design the weapons so that if it does snap, then you won't have a sharp edge. So it's a lot that goes into the back and forth and all that sort of stuff that we kind of don't really talk about too much. But it's a lot that goes into that, and kind of like the parameters you got to fall within. And it's what makes the job fun for me, honestly, to tell you the truth. It's like the nitty gritty, getting into how you do the thing or make the thing. So aside from drawing cool pictures of action figures, the science and being there for the ride with your engineering team is kind of fun.
And Tony, from that,
it's the most fun math and science.
It's the only fun math and science. Well, science is dope. Anyway.
Toy math. and Tony, like in the process now, with like the paints and like the colors and everything in that EP process, does like the digitization of things, has that made that process a little bit easier, or are you still like pulling out Pantone books and making sure that the colors are matching and
Pantone
talking about
book
cool grays?
Pantone book is always the Rosetta Stone. That's the word key. Look at Lenny's Pantone books.
Nice.
Swatches.
Yeah, back in the paint room, we used to do the paint room clap, and we would, if anyone said something great, we would just kind of fan these things around. But no, it's the Rosetta Stone between design, our paint department, and then our partners in PDE, and then the vendor. So it's super important to still have the Pantone books. Digital's been great just because I got to learn a new skill set, which is great. But our partners adapted to it pretty quickly. And you're really kind of keeping some costs down by not generating full prototypes every time you make one figure, and you can use that figure for presentations instead. It's a very smart move. But key is the Pantone book. We'll never get away from that, just because it's that language that's always constant. Everyone's screens are different, especially if they're not calibrated, or if you're on a Mac, or if you're on a PC. We have special monitors that do have some incredible color balancing, and they actually are on a network that can sync, so it makes sure that everybody's monitors aren't.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
That
Out of
rules.
sync. It's ESO monitors. They're really incredible, but again, on the network, so someone on your team isn't slacking, it'll go in and like calibrate their screen for them. But again, not all our partners have invested in that technology, so it's still Pantone is best.
Yeah.
But then again, now you need the best lighting for that. So are you getting the D50 lighting? I don't know.
You gotta get that D50 lighting.
You want to know something crazy? When I redid my office because of colors and matching, I got these lights.
Look
People
at that.
listening won't be able to know. So you can change the
I can see
color
your
spectrum on it.
your temperature
Tony and I,
changing.
we go hard. Tony and I go hard when it comes. Like we won't use colors from a screen. Like we do the digital paint, but then we check our Pantone books like crazy next to our figures as well. So it's like we go hard.
Yeah, there's color checks. I mean, your first shots, you're not going to get the best colors. Our factory's really doing a great job. Shout out to them. But that first round is going to be a little bit off. Maybe there's not enough saturation in the reds, or the green's not looking, maybe a little too blue instead of a little more yellow that we want. And then you get to a second round, and hopefully not a third round, but you can really fine tune these things. And me and Lenny go to town on these.
I feel bad for Matt. Our engineer's name is Matt. So
they're patient, though. They're patient.
He's a very patient man. We should get him a plaque, man of great wisdom and patience.
For sure. We love it. So we want these as perfect as we can. So
sticking in the world of art, specifically, when the newest pre-orders went up, we got to look at some of the new packaging. And the classified line has gone through some visual changes over the years. But what led to the step away from bringing in those artists to do the one-off card art for the mainline figures?
There was, with kind of the success and the widening of the line, shall we say, I think we can all admit, you get a whole lot more classified figures now in a year than you did in previous years. And so we had a full team that was dedicated to managing that process. And ultimately, they got kind of shuffled. And when there was some E1 things going on, they got shuffled with E1. And so kind of a new team came on to lead packaging. And so they decided that they wanted to go in a kind of a more cohesive direction. And I mean, I think the packaging looks beautiful. Stacy and Julian are doing an incredible job. And I think the wave that we just pre-ordered is the first of the new kind of modular packaging that's being rolled out. And so the sizing is a tiny bit different than you're used to with the regular G.I. Joe window boxes. It got a little bit complicated. So when we made the move to step away from plastic-free packaging, so you'll remember that the G.I. Joe line look switched from our original window boxes to when we went to plastic-free packaging. Yep. So for like Black Series and Legends, they were able, when we decided to go back to window boxes, they went back to their old window boxes because they still had them and the die lines were the same, all the patterns were the same. Great. We didn't have that because we had switched line looks. So we didn't want to switch back to an old line look only to switch back to the new line look. So we're trying to keep it as minimally inconvenient as humanly possible for collectors. So there are a couple of figures that came out within what we have been referring to as the intermediary step box, where it's the old window box die line, but with the new line look on it. And now we are going into the new kind of modular packaging where everything will match, will all be cohesive, it will look lovely on your shelf. But so that is kind of a new process change for us, but a welcome one, I think, to get back into the world of window boxes.
Very cool. And with that, I think we're ready for some Q&A, guys. So
it's time.
Dave.
Oh,
Dave,
you're in for it now.
Please, please
according to
tell-
my list, it's time.
It is time. Please tell our listeners, how can they submit questions for these Q&A sections of our interviews?
I would love to. First off, thank you for listening. If you are listening on your favorite podcast location, do make sure you subscribe. I'm told it helps with a algorithm, and that you automatically get every episode delivered to you on a weekly basis. Now, if you follow on the social medias, then you're aware of this Q&A process. But if not, go to your Instagrams, go to your Twitters, go to your YouTubes. Specifically on Instagram, though, you'll see us at AIC_podcast. And in the story, we're going to have a story that says, like, hey, Tony, Lenny, and Emily are coming on. Do you have any questions for them? And there'll be a little box that you can tap on, and you type in your question. And then Eric or I get those questions sent to us, and we read them, and we put them in this next list that's coming up. And the folks on that are guesting on the show, the guests for that week will answer. And yeah, I think I did it.
Bravo!
You did a great job. Nailed it.
It's the perfect system.
Every time I can't keep myself together when he does that.
And
it makes me cry. I'm laughing so hard.
And if you're on YouTube,
ridiculous.
smash that subscribe button and hit that bell.
Oh my god, they made us say that when we were doing fan streams. There was like a 3-month period of time where they were like, Emily, at the end of all the fan streams, you have to make sure to say like, share, and subscribe for more great news from Hasbro Pulse. I was like, but do I have to?
Gotta smash that subscribe button. Gotta smash it.
Yeah.
Gotta smash.
Gotta hit that bell so you know there's a new video.
It's not going to work.
So let's dive into the Q&A. We've got a bunch to go through today. This is anytime you guys are on, the fans are always submitting questions. So shouts to everybody that submitted. Shouts to everybody. Unfortunately, we can't get to everybody. So Dave, do you want to go with the first one?
I would love to. And these all look easy, so I won't be apologizing to anybody's username this time. At literally_action_figs on Instagram asks, now that the community has proven there's a hunger for larger classified pieces, has the team started to think about any more about how playsets might fit into the plan?
Yes.
Yes. Great answer. Next question.
You can elaborate a little bit.
I mean, do you have to, though? I'm just kidding. Please
yes.
Go ahead and elaborate. Don't say too much, but please elaborate.
I think to give a little more juice to the squeeze, you got to see what is viable, again, price point wise. What are people willing to spend for it? What figure are they willing to swap out for it if that is so not in their budget to get everything? You gotta kind of like think about people's wallets, and then what is something that can enhance the shelf, not eat the shelf, right? So as we think about that stuff, I don't think we're going to go full bore in, and you're going to get a pit, but we're going to think about like what would be feasible. And not crazy, but still awesome.
Very cool.
Yeah, I like that. And enhance the shelf versus eat the shelf, because you kind of think of it, but that's like a really good way of describing it.
Yeah, make your life a little easier, kind of thing. Like, 'cause I know for me, even my stuff falls down all the time. So it's like, how do you do it where you can help that problem, or you can make the shelf look cooler?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, one of my favorite things to, in terms of play sets of recent time have been some of the things that the Vintage Collection has been putting out, like hallways, dioramas, like pieces that are kind of like modular, but almost shell-like. So that way you can kind of, you can set up a little scene and it doesn't like destroy it actually takes up barely any space on your shelf, your existing shelf. It just kind of enhances it. Never really thought about it that way. All right.
That's a T-shirt too, by the way.
That is. Enhance your shelf. G.I. Joe Classified Series. Get that on.
Mhm.
If Ryan can have his Mints on Card shirt on HasbroPulse.com, you guys can get your Enhance Your Shelf. That's an order.
It's just G.I. Joe Classified. It has nothing to do with the play sets. It's just
Enhance your shelf.
Yeah.
There you go.
G.I. Joe Classified. Make it cool.
All right, so this next question comes from I have one caveat. I had to heavily edit the verbiage used for our next question. Comes from @JerseyManiac on Instagram. The team announced last year that future waves would be 5 figures deep, but we're still seeing waves of 4. What happened?
That is a super solid question. Thank you for editing whatever the original verbiage of that was.
Same question, just lots of Fs. There were
Yep. Nope.
How I speak when I'm not at work or at a podcast.
Yes.
Nope.
Yes.
I mean, we've all gotten those messages. So the reason why waves are now 5 instead of 4, or 4 instead of 5. So when we originally were doing 5-figure waves, you'll remember that the retro cardback collection was a Walmart exclusive, and the 60th anniversary figures did not exist in the line. So we had to reallocate some of the item count away from our kind of what we refer to as the mainline classified collection. So that's our classic, standard box size, $24.99 kind of modernized figures. We had to allocate some of the item count away from those figures to supplement the retro cardback and the 60th anniversary figures. So your trade-off for having 4-figure waves instead of 5-figure waves is now you get retro figures and 60th anniversary figures. And I actually feel like that was a pretty solid answer.
Definitely. So
it's funny that makes it all make so much more sense now because when we make our rollouts for the year, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm like seeing the spreadsheet in my head. I'm like, that totally lines up.
Right? Yep. Exactly.
It's still a huge amount of figures, mind you.
Yes.
It's still a lot of figures.
Yeah, it's crazy sometimes. From a development standpoint too, the 4 figures is actually way easier than the 5 figures a wave, because you're actually working on exclusives at the same time. You're working on retro cardbacks at the same time, so it does alleviate us a little bit too, which is great. So we just spread the cheese out a little bit more throughout the year.
And will it kind of stay that way? Well, obviously, once the 60th anniversary figures are kind of like you're past that program or that execution, is the plan to kind of stick with the 4-figure waves moving forward, or is that something that's kind of
such a solid question? Please ask us again in the future when our 2025 product line is locked and loaded.
Deal. Dave, you're up.
All right. @TheMassDevice on Instagram asks, why are certain G.I. Joes not paired with their iconic weapons when those weapons already exist in the line?
The Weather Dominator will answer that question.
Sorry.
I think for the most part, we try to get as many iconic accessories with with their particular character or figure. In some cases, there is tooling usage. Tools not done being processed, so then we don't have it. So it's in the line. So it's nice. It's nice that it's in the line. I look at the brand as a total whole. So it's like you have the parts and pieces to give to said figure. So essentially, it's usage and when we can use the tool. And we might have a character line up that somehow, some way throughout production, we do have to shuffle things and things get a little squirrely. So we try our best for that not to happen. But when you're working on, I don't know if you can include the 2-packs, working on close to 70 action figures a year, things do happen. So sometimes things get a little shuffled, have to be planned like that, essentially. So sort of what happens.
Next question comes from @Cincinnati Chama on Instagram.
Chama?
Chama.
Like a New England Chama?
I don't know why. I guess present.
No.
I had
That's
to go
from now on.
I had to go with the New England Chama.
Yeah.
I figured I would have done that first.
Are there any chances you guys would consider selling packs of the Cobra/Joe stands?
Talk about it all.
So we talk about it a lot. We're trying to kind of figure out, what makes sense from a world building standpoint for G.I. Joe. Where do we go next? And we know accessory packs, we know kind of the stands, we know there's a lot of people that have a lot of things that they're very excited about in the line. But for the time being, please feel free to check out our retro card back figures that come with delightful G.I. Joe and Cobra stands that you could use with your classified figures. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.
Dave, you're up.
Fun fact. I had the chance to. Well, we're not supporting the Selfie series anymore, but I got to design all the Selfie series exclusive stands for the San Diego and the PulseCon exclusives.
Yeah, they were beautiful.
And, yeah, we run through a lot of examples and stuff that me and Lenny were like, this could be kind of cool, but a few things.
You had some pretty cool innovations in there, and I would love to use them.
I'm just jealous at everybody that has room for stands for each of their figures on display.
I know.
I'll say this though, Joe stands in general, the original Joe stand, the classified Joe stand, which is based on the Real American Hero one. It's a nice stand because it fits directly under the figure. So it's like, it's not like eating up the rest of the shelf. So it's like, it is I think it's like a 1x2, and it's like, that's pretty much a figure area, so.
It rocks a low profile.
It does like I can't talk today. I think I'm tired. It does rock a low profile.
We lost an hour. Everybody's still recovering.
We sprung ahead.
Yeah.
It's the worst one. BMAC and I were saying today that the Monday after a spring ahead should be a holiday so that we can all recover in peace and then come back on Tuesday when we're like, right, okay, this is really the time now.
Yep. All right, friend of the pod and previous guest at Just Jay Hernandez. Hi, Jay Hernandez. On Instagram asks, with more Joes coming with swappable hands and fists, are you moving to that becoming the norm?
Depending on the character, right? So if the character needs fists, yes. If the character needs a chop hand, yes. If the character has a loadout of gear that is, I don't know, sabotage gear, but they need all the sabotage gear over the hands, there will be more sabotage gear and no extra hands, right? So it's like we have to budget what's going in the box a lot of times, right? So it's like killing your darlings. Like, I design them, we put them in the input, and then it's like we can't afford it, so we take them out. So that's basically Joe Design 101. We overdo it and then we cut out. And it just depends on what makes the most enriching experience for the figure, for the user, right? So it's like depending on the character, I think like Frag Viper, it's more important for Frag Viper to have his loadout than fists and chop hands and stuff like that, or blast effects even. So it's just a matter of like it's measuring what you're going to put in there and what you can afford and what looks like a good value as well.
Ask for forgiveness, not permission.
It's Joe motto.
My engineer's a saint, man. he's the best. Let's be design the crap out of this stuff.
Tony, what were you going to say? You were about to say something.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. And also, Lenny did an incredible job with the Mutton Junkyard too, where it's a little more purposeful, right? Very meaningful, hands and doing the call signs for the dog.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I really think that's super impactful too.
And what a gorgeous looking 2-pack just even on the shelf. Like,
I was just going to say,
I'm blown away. Yeah.
Love that 2-pack. Well, two of the most.
He's a very good boy.
He's the goodest boy.
He's the goodest boy. I got to tell you,
I saw one in Target. It was literally just sitting. I'm like, it's just, how are you not drawn to it? Like, it's just even in the packaging, it's a great looking 2-pack.
Yeah. We're currently thinking of getting a new dog, and I got to tell you, I'm like, I think I want a Rottweiler. Like, after working on that, like, they're great.
See, now what would be great is if, maybe you guys did a certain German Shepherd, and his handler, just saying.
Hey, man, whenever we can do an animal, we will do an animal in the line. Animal action figures are awesome. They're just unique. You know what I mean? Like, you don't really get the opportunity in a lot of lines to do a crocodile or a Rottweiler or a warthog, right? So it's like, yeah, the opportunity arises, we will do them. So that means they're all on the table, and we want to get to them sooner than later. It's just a matter of time and money and slots. You know what I mean?
To this day, I still can't believe you were able to include such a cool accessory with Fiona. I mean, the fact that she came with a whole other Crocmaster figure is just, it's wild.
Yeah,
One hell of an accessory. Jeez.
I know. That figure, what a good accessory. Very articulated one at that, too.
Yeah.
And
what were the babies' names? All I remember is El Diablo, but there was another one.
El Diablo, and it was Georgie.
Yeah, El Diablo's the little albino one, right? The little
he was. Tony even got really cute little like blushes. If you ever look at an albino crocodile, they have like a blush of pink on their front of their nose and stuff like that. So that thing came out. I love that, and that was like one of the first. I was like, we gotta do Crocmaster to start. I remember that when we were getting into all that. Like, I'm like, we gotta.
Now that you've built the babies in the lore, I think everyone would like to see what they look like when they're fully grown.
I do too. I very much so have an idea for what that pack would be.
And maybe it's an opportunity to introduce Croc Mistress.
Ooh.
Just throwing that out there. Love.
And nobody can see me shrugging. I'm shrugging as if
I was going to say we were all doing it.
I don't know. I gotta say though, like in that exploration, we did lose the coolest accessory. An actual accessory was going to be a giant slab of meat that the hook could connect to, so that he could throw the meat to the crocodile. We had to cost it out because it needed its own mold, and I was already overspending. So,
who is this guy? Who is this guy Lenny, and why does he have me molding meat?
Got to get a good marbleization to it,
God, it's all about that distribution of fat. It's really, really important.
Yeah. We're talking like 80-20. None of this like 90-10 crap. You know what I mean? Like we need some good. You need some good fat levels in there. You know what I'm saying?
Is Crocmaster sourcing?
Absolutely.
Is he sourcing like Angus? Is he sourcing like Wagyu? What's he?
Yeah, is it like A5? Like,
well, if you guys have noticed, Crocmaster's croc training facility is on Cobra Island on that painting we did.
Yeah.
I don't know if we ever talked about it on a stream, but like we definitely put a crocodile training facility on Cobra Island because we were thinking about like what is on the island. And there's a place where he's training. So if it's on Cobra Island and Cobra Commander has unlimited funds, he's giving those crocodiles Wagyu cows, man. Those things are they're marbleized, but not too much though. You got to be careful. You don't want to get, you got to keep them. You got to keep them a little lean, a little crazy.
Yeah.
So you got to.
It's a rich steak. You can't eat it all at one
time. Yeah.
Mindbender's got the GMOs. He's putting them in. He's
Yeah. Those crocodiles are sauced up.
So our final question from Q&A comes from @Recship_85. How do you decide which figures fit into a wave, a retro, or a retro wave? Is it driven purely by story, or do you have some sort of character ranking system?
Combination. We want it to be all driven by story, but a lot of times it can be driven by finances, who you can get to and what you could afford to make properly, who can get an update properly, who doesn't need an update. Ultimately, if I could, I would do it all story-based, but a lot of it is story-based, but then, like, that's your dream. We're going and doing this. And then you're like, ooh, that figure, I'm not going to be able to have enough to make that figure look awesome, so then we have to go another direction that I could make that figure look awesome, right? So it's like, again, it's that, like, moving the gauges around. That's kind of like the realist answer. But I think a lot of it is, if we could, it would be more story driven. But I don't know if I'm butchering this answer, Emily and Tony. But it's a beautiful statement of reality.
Beautiful statement of reality. I think that, and it is, we are grounded in reality. But I mean, we do have character ranking documents, and we one of the things that we also take into account is, what do we hear fans really saying that they want next? Who do we hear the most that, is missing from your collections, and who is the next iconic character that you need to complete your shelf?
Yeah, those top 10 lists that a lot of fans do, just like scrolling through Instagram and you're seeing people's like random list, like you'll see a lot of correlations. So those lists are super helpful because we want to make you guys stuff that you're like interested into.
Yeah.
So like seeing those lists, super helpful.
Mods, finishing teams.
Yep.
Definitely priority, knowing that we've started something and we want to finish it as well. That doesn't go unnoticed. It's just the right time and the right place to be able to put them. Can't do them all at once, unfortunately, because there's so many other things that people want as well. So, the Dreadnoks are getting filled out pretty nice, though, I got to say.
Yeah.
Gosh, there's a whole lot of Dreadnoks.
There's a lot of Dreadnoks.
If I could, I want to make some new Dreadnoks eventually. I want to get silly with it.
Get some grape soda in there.
Yeah, we got to get grape soda. It's funny.
You got Quick Kick his ice cream bar. So
I did, but it's so fun. You guys only knew. Sometimes you do something, you sculpt something, and then you can't keep the thing. You guys only knew.
Well, I'm glad you brought up lists, because this is an opportunity for us to kind of reveal something to our audience and also to you guys, because we haven't discussed it with you yet. But right now we're running currently, as this show is airing, we'll be in March, and we're running our first ever March Madness for Marvel Legends. So we're running Marvel Legends March Madness. Well, we've had such a great response. We're going to do the same thing in June for G.I. Joe. So we're going to do a YoJo June 64 character tournament where we'll let everybody vote, and we'll have a number one pick coming your way.
I already know who's going to win. Oh, it's absolutely going to be Ice Cream Soldier. What did you think it would be? Snake Eyes? As if. Ice Cream Soldier.
I thought you were going to say Cesspool, because I want Cesspool to win.
Yeah, Cesspool's awesome.
I thought you were going to say Road
Ice Cream
Pig.
Soldier to win, so I'm going to vote for Ice Cream Soldier in every round against whoever he's up against.
I'll have to make
come
sure
in a bunch of different flavors. Do a Neapolitan pack, so it comes in strawberry, chocolate, and vanilla.
Oh, or do a Spumoni pack, so you do a chocolate, pistachio, and what is it, cherry? Oh, that'd be great.
Pistachio.
Man.
The sophisticated ice cream.
Honestly,
pistachio is the sophisticated ice cream.
Honestly, I will be quietly pulling for Road Pig to win.
We soft announced Road Pig.
Did we?
I don't think. I think you just did.
Did I just do that on us? Yeah, we did. He said Road Pig.
No, do you just see Eric's face? You haven't announced this yet. See how excited this man is? You just made his night.
I did?
Wow, we got two. We got two in one episode. No way.
All right. You can cut that one out, but Road Pig, yes, and he looks awesome.
No, he doesn't have to cut it out. Just let him keep it in. It's fine.
You sure?
Yeah, what do we care?
Yeah, he's
Give
awesome.
him what he wants. Don't make him pretend like it didn't happen.
And here's the render reveal.
All right.
And then here's another one, and here's the HasLab.
Blind Panther 26.
Road Pig. Oh, man. I'm a silly one.
Blowtorch.
That's what you're getting.
Silly like that.
That's all the information I'm given.
All right. Well, what a way to end the Q&A segment. Road Pig. All right. I guess we don't have to put him on the list, Dave.
No.
Congratulations.
Well, you guys
Road Pig, you're the winner.
You already won. We're all winners here. We're all winners.
Mm-hmm.
So you survived. I guess we'll do air quotes. You survived the Q&A segment with only minimal damage. Only minimal damage. So since you guys have all been guests on the show before we let you go, we have our final question that we ask all of our guests. We have an alternate question for you. Dave, would you like to fulfill your role as this podcast's James Lipton and ask our final question?
Why, yes, I would. Our final question. Since you've all been on the show multiple times and have all been asked our standard final question, we present you with this alternate question. If you were a G.I. Joe or Cobra, what would be your ideal assignment?
Clarifying question. Are we talking realism or are we talking like ideal?
I think ideal.
Ideal.
Yeah, ideal is the way to go.
I have an answer, unless Tony, you're looking like you might have an answer too. You want to go first?
Oh, I'll start. Yeah,
Okay.
sure.
Oh,
No, I'm not doing that.
So first you have to identify Cobra or G.I. Joe.
We're going Cobra. I
Okay.
think I may have said this before, but I'm sticking with it. And Emily so delightfully actually even put it on one of my G.I. Joe hoodies for me. But Cobra Paint Viper would be pretty sweet, where I get to go in and paint up all his tanks, and someone's going to do all those Python Patrol redecos and do all that. So hopefully I get to be the lead master painter of the vehicle force.
Master Paint Viper. That's awesome.
That's beautiful.
I love it.
So 2027 for that one? Like,
Yeah. I'm holding out for my other character, who I'm not going to say on the air.
Yeah. I thought you were going to do it, man. I'm like, don't do it. Don't do it.
Well, that's going to be a reveal on the next AIC podcast. I'm waiting for that to be a real reveal.
Yeah, he's really going to change the game.
That's for sure.
That character's going to change the game.
Oh my god, I can't wait. Who's next?
We can never tell the people.
Before he slips and says it, who's next? Who wants to go next?
Emily, you go.
So if I was going for ideal skill set, it would be Cobra, and I would definitely be a sneaky assassin, like I play in Assassin's Creed, and I would we'd be in a world of G.I. Joe where it's not the Sunbow world where nobody dies. I would just be really, really good at mercilessly assassinating people. In a more realistic world, probably also for Cobra, but I would be in charge of like scheduling and doing spreadsheeting that involved color coding and like organizing people's schedules. Like I would organize like these are all of like the Vipers that are on shift right now, and they need to figure out when they get to go on lunch and when are they working swing shift? Are they working night shift? Great question. Why don't you go ask the what would that be? The schedule something? I don't know.
The logistics Viper
for that. Schedule
Logistic Viper.
I'd be the schedule Viper.
Yeah.
I kind of love that.
These are all legit figures that no one knew they needed until like today.
I need but it's like they still have to wear the helmet, but they have like a business suit on.
Yes,
but
100%.
Interestingly,
but it comes with like a physical spreadsheet as well as a laptop.
Yes, love it. It's very key. You got to be able to write on it. As a tangent to give Lenny more time, when I got my G.I. Joe job, one of the questions that I was actually asked was, if you were an action figure, what are 2 accessories that you would come with?
A spreadsheet and coffee?
Fascinatingly, I don't drink coffee.
Oh.
I know, right? I'm just like this without any caffeine.
Yeah, I don't want to see that with a coffee. That's just
We all sometimes we all drink energy drinks before fan streams, but we have to make sure that all 3 of us do it so that all of our energy is notched up obnoxiously and we match each other.
Mm-hmm.
Got it.
Equally obnoxious. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
So what were the 2 accessories?
Oh God, that was a long time ago. I think at one point it was definitely I would come with highlighters so that I can color code everything that I'm doing and make sure that it's nicely organized. And I may have said like a cat or something, equally charming, something clever and non-work related. She says with her dog literally like asleep over her shoulder during this interview.
I love it.
He is out for count.
It's past our bedtime, so she's letting me know that it's really like she'd really like me to speed this up so we can go to bed.
I think I'm going to jump in because she looks like she's pretty tired. I guess it's funny. I don't think about this all the time of who I would be. I think maybe I'd want to be like a demolition dude. You know what I mean? Like not Saboteur, not Firefly, but I want to be like a demolition dude with like a sledgehammer. You know what I mean? Like sledgehammers and stuff like that. Just bringing in the heavy. You know what I mean? Like this like wrecking shop somehow. All brawn, no brains. This would be a funny character.
Was this a Joe or a Cobra?
And that's where I'm going. I think.
all right. Yeah.
I think we need that on Joe.
Yeah.
Somebody who just kind of goes in reckless abandon, and it's just like Leroy Jenkins, and it's just like things are gonna break. You know what I mean? I think that'd be fun. And then from a design standpoint too, I think it kind of be cool to be like just kind of going in there and just making a mess and seeing what comes out of it. You know what I mean? Like, it's late, so I'm having trouble formulating thoughts, but like go in and be a little more dreamy with it, right? So it's just like break it down and see the pieces and make something new out of it, kind of thing. So.
You could be like codename Meat Hooks.
Dude, that's incredible. Meat Hooks?
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Just like with like massive like hands and sledgehammers and just, that would be
like Hulk hands.
Yeah.
Like
Meat Hook.
It's like how they portrayed Bazooka in the cartoon, but like actually wrecking stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like imagine like
Not just
pneumatic
falling
like
over.
Hulk hands.
Yeah.
No, he's old school. He uses a sledgehammer straight up. Like it's all sweat of the brow.
Love it.
Wait, but Eric and Dave, what would you be?
Oh,
what would your jobs be?
So I would definitely be a Joe. I mean, listen, like G.I. Joe, like they need marketing support. Like they need the guy that's writing writing the copy. They need like the guy who's writing like the internal documents. Like they need that guy. They need the technical writer. They need the copywriter. They need the voice of the brand. So I would have to lean on my professional skill set outside of doing this wonderful podcast and say that I would be like the marketing officer at G.I. Joe.
Beautiful.
I guess I'd be like, it would make more sense for it to be a Cobra job, but I'd be like the guy who like cuts promos on people.
That's amazing.
Like I'm just gonna, I the all talk like guy, and then everyone else just, yep, you can take care of that now. You can take care of that mess I made.
You could be Cobra
That would
Commander
probably make
Meat
sense.
Rider.
Style? Like WWE
Yeah.
style, like cutting promos on fools, like just like talking smack.
Yeah, pretty much.
I love that.
What a great job.
And your Cobra.
It's like the opposite of Eric's. Like I'm the evil Eric.
And your code name could be like Motor Mouth or
Smack
like
Talk,
Mouthpiece or something like that.
Yeah, Mouthpiece would be good.
Mouthpiece is really good.
That's great.
So this 6-figure wave or 5-figure wave will be.
Speaking
Wait,
of
can we get 6
5
figures so we can put in an ice cream soldier?
definitely. There you
Yeah,
go.
sure.
Done.
We should make a G.I. Joe named Six Figures, and he's got all the money.
Oh.
Well, Destro has got all the money, but like, you know what I mean? Like somebody named like kind of like Headman. You know what I mean? Like
He's got skin in the game.
yeah,
The financier.
the financial backer. Like that's the thing with G.I. Joe. It's hard for me to come up with it because it's like they've got it all covered, man. Tomax and Zamar, they got financiers. They got it all. G.I. Joe's got it all.
But there's so many like potential jobs in there for like anything works.
Yep.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Well, with that, we've done our final question. We've done our Q&A. Guys, before we let you go, where can we get the latest and greatest news about G.I. Joe Classified? Tell our listeners where they can find you guys and find the G.I. Joe Classified stuff on the interwebs.
On the interwebs for official things, you can find G.I. Joe updates on the @Hasbro Pulse channels across Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, I don't know, Threads if we're still active on that. And then personally, I am at More Phenomenally Emily on Instagram. Boys.
And I am at Weather Dominator on Instagram. That's
and and I'm the great Tonino on Instagram.
And we
Very
will make
Instagram
sure.
heavy here.
Well, it's the place to be.
It's
the place.
Yeah,
to be.
it's the fun one.
I will make sure that
For the most part.
that we put links to all of those accounts in the show notes. That way, you don't have to try to figure out how to spell more phenomenally Emily. I'll make sure that we have clickable,
You're welcome.
tappable links, so that way everybody can follow you guys, and if they're not already, and stay up to date on the latest GI Joe news. Guys, thank you so much for joining us tonight. This was so much fun.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, thank you.
And thank you guys.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks for coming back. But I feel like, is there any other way to go out?
Yo, Joe!
Thank you, dear listener, for hanging out with us today. Subscribe, rate, and review us wherever you listen, and then tell your friends to do it. Thanks also to Joe Azari, the golden voice behind our intro. Our music is Game Boy Horror by the Zombie Dandies. Find more about them both on our show notes.
Follow us on social media at AIC_podcast on Instagram and Twitter. Stop by and say hi, show us your toy hauls, and share your toy stories. Maybe we'll talk about it in a future episode.
Don't try this at home. Void where prohibited and some assembly required. Each sold separately, not a flying toy. Consult a physician if your toy run exceeds more than 4 hours.
This has been a non-productive media presentation. Executive producer Frank Hablawi. This program and many others like it on the Non-Productive Network is distributed under a Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial No Derivatives license. Please share it, but ask before trying to change it or sell it. For more information, visit non-productive.com.